So here we have Excel again. We're just going to key in some like random numbers to work with. So we'll just type in some random numbers. Something like that. All right, so this is going to be our pretend data set. And I'd like for us to calculate a couple of different things. I'd like to calculate the range, the 25th percentile, the 50th percentile, the 75th percentile, and let's calculate the interquartile range. So we'd like to have Excel do all of this for us. All right, now, can we eyeball what this range is? Looks like my smallest number is 3. My biggest number is 23. No, my biggest number is 32. So the range is from 3 to 32. So that's the normal people way of doing it. The statistician's way of doing it is to say that these numbers vary by 32 minus 3. So they vary by 29. Now, how can we do this without actually having to find by hand what the biggest number is and the smallest number? Well, fortunately, there's an Excel function called max and another one min that tells us our biggest and our smallest, and then we can just subtract those two numbers. So, in fact, let's just squeeze those in here. Let me move this down, and we'll do max, and we'll do min, and then we'll do range. So we start with an equal sign, max, and then we either key in these values or give it the range. It's A1 through A12. We could type in A1 colon A12, or we could just drag and drop our mouse there and close those parentheses. And sure enough, it tells me, yep, the max was 32. So good, I was right there. What about the min? The command is very simple. It's just min. We do the same thing, A1 through A12, which was 3. We were right there too. The range is just going to be 32, so that number there in cell D1, minus this number here in cell D2, just 29. Probably best to just do this directly. So rather than referencing these numbers, I would just do the max of A1 through A12 minus the min of A1 through A12. And that gives us our 29 again. So the range is pretty easy to do. What about percentile? Start off with an equal sign. The command is percentile. There's a couple of different options here. We'll just go for the default one, percentile. It asks for the data, right? So we just tell it data is in A1 through A12. And then now we got to tell it what percentile. Okay, so we could just key in 25. And when we do that, it says, whoa, whoa, something's wrong. The reason is because we're looking for a percent. We're looking for a number that corresponds to a percent, but a key input there is a percent. And so 25 is a number that's way too high. What it needs to be is 0.25. And when we key that in, we see that if we were to order these, right, in increasing order, 25% of these 12 observations are either a 5 or a number less than 5. 5, 4, and 3. The 3 out of those 12. What about the 50th percentile? The formula is the same. Percentile, the data range, and now we key in 0.50 for the 50th percentile. Now, notice that it coughs up a number here that's 8.5, and there is no such number here. Can you tell why? Why would it give me a number I don't even have? Because there's an even number of observations. There is no middle number when you've got an even number. Half are going to be more than that number. Half are going to be above that number. There's no odd number sticking out for us to pick. So we just need to take the average of the two most middle numbers. So 8.5. The 75th percentile, I think you guys know how that works now. Percentile, data range, 0.75, close those parentheses, hit enter. 75th percentile is now, again, some number we had to interpolate, so it's 15.5. All right, now what is the interquartile range? We saw that it was the range of when you cut out the bottom 25 and you're just looking at the number, the range of the middle 25, middle 50%. Okay, well, here is the top. Here is the bottom. So the interquartile range is then simply our data set at 0.75 minus the distance to the bottom 25, to that cutoff. And so our interquartile range is 10.5. There is an Excel command for calculating quartiles directly, just asking for the first, second, and third quartile rather than the 25th, 50th, and 75th percentile. You'll get the same numbers. It's worth just showing that they're the same. So we'll do the first quartile, the second quartile, and the third quartile. The command there is very simple. It's just quartile. Give it the range of numbers. And then it asks which quartile. Is it the first quartile, which notice it corresponds to the 25th percentile, the second one, which is our median, our 50th percentile, or the third. So you just need to give it a number, a 0, 1, 2, 3, or here the fourth is the max value. We want the first quartile. And we get a 5, which we know to be correct. Our second quartile, give it our range of data, and that would be our second quartile. It corresponds to the 50th percentile, so we should get 8.5. We do. And our third quartile, again, quartile of what? Of those numbers. Our third quartile corresponds to the 75th percentile, so we should get 15.5. And there you go. So I think it's fairly straightforward. You are now armed with the Excel skills to calculate a whole range, no pun intended, of summary statistics.